What's going on, yo? I watch a lot of body cam footage. For those of you who don't know, like, cops wear body cams and they record their arrests or like encounters with civilians when they do like traffic stops. Usually, sometimes they'll go like for domestic violence, stuff like that. And what I'm realizing is the general public that deals with the police consistently tends to lack emotional intelligence. And I say that because I probably watch like hundreds of body cam footage by now. Go check out Heavy Gant if you on YouTube if you want to see somebody do good commentary over body cam footage. But the thing that's consistent with all the people who go to jail in body cam footages is that they almost never follow instructions. And the other thing that's consistent is they often act emotionally based on what someone says to them. They want to be in control, and when they're not in control, they immediately act out or get physical. And this is one of the things that I think can keep you broke, right? Lacking emotional intelligence will cost you money. And I'm gonna talk about it in the lens of like the black community for a second. I say black people, not the community. Black people. I remember seeing a body cam, right, where this woman had hit her husband or boyfriend, and they showed up at the house. He had called the police, and the police are talking to this woman, right, and she's talking about how she has been getting into it with her boyfriend over and over again, and she don't like how he treats her, all this shit, right? She had a prior conviction for something completely unrelated, something where she also acted emotionally. And the cop, she's explaining what happened, and he says to the cop, and he said he was talking crazy to me, so I pushed him. So immediately, my thought is, you put your hands on somebody because you didn't like what they said to you. And now that's going to cost you not only more time and money, but probably your freedom. And the cop says to her very, very plainly, like, you understand, like, I understand, you've been having these arguments with him, fights, you got to not get along, but you understand you can't just put your hands on somebody because you don't like what they said. And I shit you not. You know what she said to him? You know what she said to the cop? She said, he made me mad. What else was I supposed to do? And that made me so fucking sad. And I bring up black people for a second because I feel like black people in like really urban areas, I saw this in my own life too as a kid. I grew up in Chicago. Black kids, men and women, are taught to value combat. Like, we often are not taught to walk away. And which is crazy to me, because we will then create children who lack impulse control, and then we will wonder why all of our adults have issues with the system. Is the system unfair to black people? I'm sure it is in a number of ways. But you don't do yourselves any favors when you turn small things like traffic tickets and traffic stops and, like, I've seen I've seen women leave their children in cars so they can go hang out with their friends and like, it's shit like this. Like, you don't do yourself favors when you give the police a reason to fuck with you. Now, if you're somebody who hears that and you say to yourself, well, everyone's human, and you start making excuses for why the person could have reasonably done these things, you're part of the problem. Like, how do you expect impoverished communities to ever get ahead if part of what they're paying for is their own emotional stupidity? Because let's be clear, when a cop tells you, and this is the other thing I have a slight problem with, all of the messaging in the media recently especially the last like 4 or 5 years with all the Black Lives Matter shit, they will tell you black people are fearing for their lives when they're encountering police. And then you watch body cams and these people do anything but what you'd expect someone who actually fears for their life to do. I want you to ask yourself something. If you thought someone was actually going to shoot you, like legitimately going to take your life, if you thought that was a plausible, reasonable, and likely possibility, and they had a gun and they told you, step out of your car, or they told, and you knew they was the law, right? Like, let's just be clear. It's not just a random person. It's the law. Or they tell you, I'd like you to stand right here and don't move. What do you think is more likely to cause you harm? You standing there, or you acting a fool, you fighting with the police, you kicking, you screaming, you yelling? And that's the thing I don't tend to understand. If y'all really believe that there's these many crooked cops out here, fighting with them in the street is not going to get you justice. Your best bet is to comply as much as you can, and then they have they don't have something extra to deal. But the moment you give them the extra, that's all it's about then it's you're combative, then it's you causing a scene, then it's you're not following instructions, and you pay for that. You pay for it every single time because you can't control your impulses, you can't control your emotions. And every time we do that, we perpetuate the stereotype that black people are people who cause crime. Black people are people who have trouble with authority. All of that shit builds up, and then you create the system that you hate, and you pay for it on top of it. If we really want black children, this is my opinion, as a black man who grew up with a single mother for the first 16 years, if y'all really want black children to have a chance to grow up in a way that's different from what you experience, like an actual equitable life, you cannot build up the same crazy ass values that your parents gave you. You got to ask yourself, have those values served you well? Like, if you are somebody who is sitting in your apartment, your house, whatever it is right now, you are not happy with where you are, and you talk more than twice a week to yourself or other people about how unfair the world is, how unfair the patriarchy is, the racism is, the America. If that's your plight every week, your values have not served you well. Because you, regardless of what you feel about it, you have not figured out how to move in the world in a way that does not place you in direct opposition with all those things you say you hate. I'm not saying everyone should be a slave and just roll over to people who are crooked, but you know what it is when a police officer asks you to get out of the car. Like, y'all know that. I know you know. So let's not pretend. What I get from those body cams too is that a lot of y'all been acting the fool for a minute. And it's crazy. When all this shit was going on with like the unjustified killings of some of the people in I think 2020, like the George Floyd's, things like that, people were like yelling about body cams. People were saying, we need more body cams. And dog, I was all about it, and I still am. What's crazy to me though is that for the amount of injustice people yell about, I've watched probably close to 300 body cams right now, and I think I've seen maybe 4 where let's say 6. I'm gonna round up. Let's give it 2 more. I'm gonna give it 50% more. 6 body cam instances out of the 300 where the cops acted in a way that I thought was questionable. And even in like 2 of the questionable ones, it was, well, the law does give them the ability to do that, right? They might not, but again, it was a situation where maybe they lacked some impulse control. Maybe they could have made a difference. They could have de-escalated, right? All the other ones I've seen, the cops are giving multiple chances, multiple. Get out of the car. I don't want to arrest you. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Please put your hands behind your back. Please do this. We're trying to get your name. Please identify yourself. We're trying to get your name. Give me your ID. Give me your ID. Give me your ID. And you know what the people who they're talking to do? I don't gotta give you my ID. All of a sudden, y'all are fucking lawyers. Lack of emotional control. Lack of impulse control. Emotional ignorance. And when we act like that, who are we to then turn around and be like, the system is doing it to us? No, it's not. We do this. So, not we, y'all. Whoever is out there getting stopped by the fucking police every 10 seconds. Like the amount of body cams I've seen where there are people out here in the world moving fucking drugs that are driving around in a car, baggies all out in the fucking seats. Y'all tags expired. You driving on a suspended license from 3 years ago. Like, you're literally asking to be pulled over. That is not the system's fault. That's a failure to be an adult. That is an adulting failure. And every time you put yourself in that position and then you let your emotions take over because you're upset about how the situation is going, you are going to pay for it. So anyway, I say all that to say, the world might not be fair, but you don't do yourselves any favors when you compound on the injustice by giving the people you say are crooked license and legal reason to come after you. You don't have a leg to stand on when you do things that are out of compliance with what you know the law to be, or you act as if you know the law better than the cops, because most of y'all don't. Let's just be real. And then you say the system's unfair. You don't have a leg. This is another thing I see all the time on body cam, bro. Miranda rights. And I learned this from body cam, by the way. People think that because they've been watching fucking Law and Order, they think that any time before you're arrested, you're supposed to be read your Miranda rights, because that's how they do it on Law and Order. As they click up your fucking handcuffs, they go, you have the right to remain silent. The reality of Miranda rights, though, is that they don't have to read you anything unless they're going to question you upon arrest, or they're going to question you before arrest about the situation that they're investigating. If you willingly give them information, they don't have to do shit. I've seen so many people on body cam get arrested and then complain and say, you didn't read me my rights. Like, they are fucking fuming. They're foaming at the mouth, talking about, you detained me illegally, and then you arrested me illegally. You didn't read my rights. You're supposed to do that first. You're supposed to do that first. And the cop will try to explain to them, we don't have to do that unless we're questioning. We don't have to do that unless they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. Because people assume that they know better than the cop. They treat cops like they are customer service associates. And then they wonder why they get arrested. Emotional intelligence. That's all this is about. We have a responsibility as adults. Fuck the black, white, whatever race you are. Fuck that. We have a responsibility as adults, especially adults with children, to be better than we got. We have to do that. Otherwise, you can't complain about how the system is perpetuating this oppression, because you are a contributing cog in the oppression wheel. You are oppressor number one. Don't put your kids in positions where they got to see you act a fool and then wonder what the fuck happened to them. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. I know it's more attractive to a lot of people to be victims, but after watching so many of these and seeing people do like really heinous shit, like seeing mothers leave their children, their fucking infant children, in cars so that they can go to the club, so they can go work out, and then act as if it ain't no big deal. Saw a mom leave her fucking three children in an apartment that had no food, no running water, no electricity, nothing. And then she acted like it was the cops who was doing it to her. If you find yourself doing that shit, it's not life that's doing it. You kicking your own ass. So, anyway, This is my reminder to be accountable to yourself and remember that not being emotionally mature has a very real cost. Not just psychologically, but financially. Because let me tell you, I got a DUI when I was in my early 20s. That shit costs. And that was nobody's fault but mine. I could have found a bunch of different reasons for why somebody should have done this for me or should have done that for me, or they could have given me a break. But the reality is, if I didn't put myself in that situation, if I didn't fuck that up, there would have been nothing to do. There would have been nothing to be upset about. So just take a reflection. Look at your own life and find out, am I fucking this? Am I really the victim I make myself out to be? Because almost always, you could have done something to prevent it. Emotional intelligence. We got to teach our kids, man. We got to do better. Anyway, talk to y'all later.